Alright, sports fans, grab your jerseys and get ready for a juicy plot twist straight from the NFL soap opera that is Aaron Rodgers' career. The guy who's made more headlines than a Hollywood blockbuster, who's worn more jerseys than your average wardrobe, may have just played his final down for the New York Jets. That's right, the 41-year-old quarterback, who once dazzled in Green Bay and almost turned the Jets into contenders, might be hitting the exit door quicker than you can say, discount double check. But why? What happened? And where does Rodgers go from here? Oh, and before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we're about to break down the drama, the trades, the retirements, and a whole lot of questions that could shake up the NFL this offseason. Let's dive right in. Aaron Rodgers, from Green Bay legend to New York Jet. Now, let's rewind for a second. Aaron Rodgers, the man, the myth, the future Hall of Famer, was once the undisputed king of Green Bay. With his MVP trophies, his Super Bowl ring, and his legendary arm, Rodgers could do no wrong. But after a messy breakup with the Packers, the Jets came knocking. The trade rumors were louder than ever. And when it finally happened, it felt like the Jets had hit the jackpot. With Rodgers leading the charge, it seemed like New York might finally make its way back to the playoffs for the first time in forever. But here's the kicker, things haven't gone as planned. After an injury-plagued season, Rodgers and the Jets just couldn't get it together. The chemistry was off, and despite all the hype, the Jets' playoff hopes crashed and burned faster than a 5-yard sack. The latest bombshell: Jets moving on without Rodgers? Fast forward to now, and Rodgers' time in New York is on life support. According to reports, the Jets have officially told Rodgers that they're moving on without him. Wait, what? Yep, you heard that right. After everything, it looks like the team is prepared to say goodbye to Rodgers, even though his future in the NFL is still up in the air. So what happened? Did Rodgers get caught up in a drama series with the Jets front office? Well, here's the deal. Rodgers met with the Jets recently, hoping to figure out where he stands. Unfortunately, the team made it clear that they're already thinking about their future without the QB. I mean, that's one heck of a breakup text, right? Just straight up, we're good. Thanks, but no thanks. The coaching change, Aaron Glenn's big decision. A big reason for this shift is the hiring of Aaron Glenn as the Jets' new head coach. The man who previously led the Detroit Lions defense now has the power to make the tough decisions. And it seems like moving forward with Rodgers isn't on his to-do list. There were no clear answers given by Glenn or Jets GM Darren Mogi at their press conference. But you can bet those questions about Rodgers were coming in hot. So, what does Glenn want? Is he going to start fresh with a new QB? Well, as a first-time head coach, Glenn might want to build his own legacy without any baggage, and that could mean no room for Rodgers. The decision is in Glenn's hands. And from the looks of it, he's leaning towards a new direction. It's like being handed the keys to a Ferrari, but deciding you'd rather take the bus for a bit. Rodgers' future, retirement, or a new team? Now, let's talk about Rodgers himself. The 41-year-old has been pretty open about considering retirement. He made it clear after the Jets season ended that he'd take some time to think about what's next. But, let's be real, Rodgers is a competitor. After all, the guy still has a cannon for an arm, and the thought of hanging it up for good probably doesn't sit too well with him. Sources say that Rodgers tried meeting with the Jets, but it was clear that the team wasn't quite as invested in his future as he hoped. Ouch. Now, he's left to contemplate whether he wants to ride off into the sunset or keep playing elsewhere. A trade is on the table, especially with his hefty contract. Rodgers is due $37.5 million in 2025. But since there's no guaranteed money left, the Jets could easily release him, maybe even as a post-June 1st cut. This would give Rodgers the freedom to sign with any team that wants to pick up the phone and call. You better believe some teams will be lining up. What about Davante Adams? Now, let's talk about another interesting twist in this drama. Remember when Rodgers' BFF Davante Adams was traded to the Jets with hopes of rekindling that magic from Green Bay? Well, with Rodgers' future uncertain, it could spell bad news for Adams, too. He's carrying a massive cap hit for 2025, $38.3 million. And while the two were supposed to team up for a Jets resurgence, Adams may not want to stick around if Rodgers isn't the one throwing him the ball. And guess what? According to NFL Network's Ian Rapoport, Adams is eyeing a move to the West Coast. It's like one of those, will they, won't they, relationships, but in football terms. It's all about location. 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 The Jets' QB search. Alright, so with Rodgers potentially out, the Jets now find themselves in a bit of a quarterback conundrum. They've got the number 7 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, which could be a prime spot for snagging a new QB. Or, maybe they'll opt for a veteran quarterback. There's a long list of potential options out there, though finding someone who can immediately replace a 4-time MVP might be a bit tricky. But hey, they've got options, and you better believe they'll be exploring every avenue. What does this all mean for the Jets? Here's the bottom line. The Jets are at a crossroads. They brought in Aaron Rodgers to be the guy who would lead them to the promised land. But after a disappointing season and a potential split between Rodgers and the team, the future's looking uncertain. Will they go for a rookie QB in the draft? Or will they bring in a veteran? Either way, they've got a lot of work to do. The Jets will have to rebuild their roster, again, and figure out how to stay relevant in a highly competitive AFC East. Conclusion. So, what do you think, folks? Is this the end of the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets saga? Or is it just a temporary setback? Could the Jets make a big splash in the offseason and find their next franchise quarterback? Only time will tell, but we're definitely in for an exciting ride. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Rodgers still has a few more seasons left in the tank? Or is it time for him to hang it up? And who do you think the Jets should target as their next quarterback? Let me know down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest NFL drama. Until next time, folks, stay tuned, because we're just getting started. Whether it's trade rumors, free agent signings, or a whole lot of, what the heck are they doing, moments. We'll be here to break it all down for you. Catch you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Keep those notifications on, because we'll be back soon with more NFL insights, quarterback drama, and all the juicy details you won't find anywhere else. Stay fired up, and as always, go Jets? Or maybe not, we'll see. Alright, folks, buckle up because we've got a major NFL plot twist on our hands. Aaron Rodgers, the 41-year-old 4-time MVP, may be looking for a new home this offseason. The New York Jets, who brought Rodgers in with high hopes, are ready to move on, and they've told the legendary QB that they're no longer in the business of betting on his future. But here's the big question. Where in the world will Aaron Rodgers go next? Despite the inevitable march of time and a few bumps along the way, Rodgers is still capable of leading a team to the playoffs. So, where could the future Hall of Famer land in 2025? Stick around, because we're breaking down 4 possible destinations for the man with one of the strongest arms in NFL history. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the twists and turns that this offseason will bring. Let's get to it. 1. New York Giants, the Big Apple's last shot at a QB savior? Wait, what? Could Aaron Rodgers stay in the Big Apple? After all, the New York Giants are in desperate need of a quarterback, and things aren't looking too great for them in the draft. After cutting ties with Daniel Jones last season, the Giants find themselves with a quarterback-sized hole in their lineup. Their number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft gives them some leverage. But with the Tennessee Titans and Cleveland Browns picking ahead of them, both teams that also need quarterbacks, they might just miss out on their ideal draft target. Whether that's Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Now, while Rodgers wouldn't be a long-term solution, he could very well be the perfect stopgap. With a relatively weak quarterback draft class this year, Rodgers could give the Giants a solid shot at the playoffs while they look for their future franchise guy down the road. Could this be the story of a QB that spends one last season in the city that never sleeps? Stay tuned, folks. The New York football scene might just get even more interesting. 2. Las Vegas Raiders, showbiz. Baby. And speaking of cities with big personalities, you didn't think Rodgers was done with the limelight, did you? Enter the Las Vegas Raiders. Who could be the perfect landing spot for the veteran QB? With the 6th overall pick in the 2025 draft, the Raiders are in a similar situation to the Giants. They need a quarterback. But the options are slim, especially if they miss out on the top guys in the draft. with new head coach Pete Carroll at the helm and general manager John Spytek trying to bring stability to a Raiders offense that's been all over the place in recent seasons. Rodgers could provide that missing piece. The potential of Rodgers commanding the Vegas offense with weapons like Davante Adams, if he's still there, and Josh Jacobs would instantly raise the team's offensive floor. Not to mention, the Raiders would be thrilled to have a big-name quarterback leading the charge in Sin City. Is it a perfect fit? Maybe, maybe not, but it would sure be fun to watch. 3. Pittsburgh Steelers, a veteran QB for a veteran team. If there's one team that knows how to make the most of an aging quarterback, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have been building a solid roster, and they managed to make the playoffs in 2024 with a combination of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields under center. But neither of those guys is under contract for 2025. So, what's next for Pittsburgh? Will they go all in on a young quarterback in the draft? Or is there room for a veteran in the twilight of his career to step in? Well, we all know how much the Steelers love their veteran QBs. They won a Super Bowl with Ben Roethlisberger in his later years. So could Rodgers be next? The Steelers have a draft pick in the 20s, so this might not be the year to grab a future franchise QB. Instead, they could look to Rodgers to take the reins for a couple more seasons while the team focuses on other key pieces. A move like this would immediately make the Steelers a playoff contender again. And hey, if anyone can handle the Pittsburgh spotlight and the Steelers' gritty football culture, it's Rodgers. 4. Cleveland Browns, a high-risk, high-reward gamble. Alright, let's talk about Cleveland. The Browns made headlines when they traded for Deshaun Watson. But, well, that experiment has been, let's just say, a little less than spectacular. With Watson struggling with injuries and poor play, the Browns are once again left in QB purgatory. Jameis Winston started for most of the 2024 season, but he wasn't able to save the Browns from a disastrous 3-14 record. So what do the Browns do now? They hold the number 2 overall pick in the draft, and many expect them to go after a quarterback. But what if they don't? What if, instead of drafting another rookie, the Browns decide to roll the dice on a proven veteran like Rodgers? Sure, it's a risky move, especially considering Rodgers' age, but the Browns might not have much choice. With Rodgers still capable of leading a team, he could give the Browns a chance to get back on track, maybe even become the piece that turns their fortunes around. Now, let's be real, it's not a perfect match. Rodgers would need to be okay with playing in Cleveland, which doesn't have the most stellar reputation. But with the Browns potentially avoiding a quarterback selection in favor of adding a game-changing piece like Travis Hunter at number 2. This could be a big gamble with high potential rewards. Rodgers may not be their first choice, but if the price is right, it might just work. Conclusion. So there you have it, folks. 4 possible landing spots for Aaron Rodgers in 2025. Will he stick it out in the Big Apple with the Giants? Will the glitz and glamour of Vegas lure him to the Raiders? Could Pittsburgh roll the dice again with another aging veteran QB? Or will Cleveland take a big chance and make Rodgers their next signal caller? Whatever happens, one thing's for sure, Aaron Rodgers is far from done with the NFL. And wherever he lands, it's going to make a splash. What do you think, though? Which team would be the best fit for Rodgers in 2025? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing as we track the latest NFL drama. Until next time, folks, let's see where Rodgers' next chapter takes us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned, because with Aaron Rodgers on the move, there's no telling what's going to happen next. We'll be here breaking it down, keeping you updated, and getting into all the latest NFL news. Catch you soon.